because what happened to me in March 2020 was that I was lying in a bed and a doctor was standing next to me and he said, "Will you sign a piece of paper to let us put you to sleep?" And I said, "Will I wake up?" And he said, "You've got a 50-50 chance." And I said, "If I don't sign?" And he said, "0." So I said, "Okay, I'll sign." So I signed and I went to sleep for 40 days. Well, not exactly asleep. You guys put me into what's called an induced coma. And I know nothing at all about that, other than what, well, I'll explain. And what happened was that you looked after me. You looked after all the machines to make sure that my blood pressure was right. You actually sang to me, held my hands, stood round my bed on my birthday on May the 7th and sang me happy birthday. You played videos from home on phones. You played Spotify tracks to me. And you told me that I would get on. You told me to fight on and to get through it. How do I know this? Because you worked for 8-hour shifts. And at the end of those 8-hour shifts, you kept a patient diary. You wrote an entry each day and each night, round the clock, telling me what I was going through. When I got a secondary infection, and when I waved my hands around and hallucinated, and when somebody noticed that I support Arsenal. But all that is in my patient diary that I can read. I know the kind of care that you gave me, that kept me alive. When my blood pressure kept plummeting, you were shaking me in order to raise my blood pressure, because I could have gone at any time. So somewhere inside of my brain, you kept me awake, kept me alive, that is, even if I wasn't fully conscious. And then when I came out of that coma, I couldn't stand up and I couldn't walk. And I went to the hospital that was next to UCH, St Pancras Rehabilitation Centre, where physiotherapists, occupational therapists and nurses taught me how to stand up and how to walk. You did that. You did that. So that's why I'm here today, and it's why I'm here today to support you and to offer solidarity to every single one of you taking this action. My parents were part of the generation that fought for the NHS. I'm just too old to have been born in the NHS. I was born in 46, but all my life I've had the NHS caring for me when I had a car accident, when I had a severe long-term illness, brought my children into the world, saw my mum and my dad out of it. The NHS, as you've all been singing today, from the cradle to the grave, it must be saved. Absolutely right. We have to fight for it, and that's what you're doing. And why am I wearing this hat? Because it's to express solidarity from my trade union. This is the University and College Lecturers Union. I'm a rank and file member, I'm not a representative, but I'm bringing solidarity. We come out on February the 1st, and what does that tell us? It tells us that workers right the way across the board are finding common ground between us. We have a common cause. Every time on the media they try to say, "Oh, look at those greedy train drivers, look at those greedy nurses." There are more and more people saying, "No, I'm like that. I'm in that same situation." We heard there's 10% inflation. How are we going to meet our bills? How are we going to pay rents or mortgages? How are we going to buy the food? You know, this choice of eat or heat. How are we going to do it? So there's common ground, and every time we see Mick Lynch or some of the leaders, more and more people are realising we have that common ground. And we do too, in the UCU. So, solidarity with all of you. Be well, seid gesund. That means in Yiddish, be well, seid gesund.